Trump won. Gay Weekly Roundtable starts now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
This is gorgeous.
What a sad way to start the show.
Sorry, but it's a sad time in the country. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gay Weekly Roundtable.
Hey.
I am your host, Adam Salandra. You can find me on social media at Adam Salandra. Please do.
And I'm your host, Tony Moore, and you can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony or my website, loungingwithtony.com.
Convenient.
I'm not your host. I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And I'm live in the chat, so if you want to join us, do so.
Please do. And we have a super special guest joining us up at the table today, Dave Holmes.
Hello. Hi.
Thank you
so
for
nice to be
being
here.
here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Truly an honor to have you.
Oh, please.
I'm sorry
It is lovely
it's on
to be
such
here.
a dark day.
I know.
This is our first show back
Let's
since
do
the
this
election.
again in a less desperate time.
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not that we won't have
Goodbye,
fun today.
folks. Yeah.
But let's
Yeah,
reconvene
we'll do
here.
nothing but fun later. But now that
in
we're here,
4 to 8 years.
let's yes. Oh God.
Well, my world
Yeah.
is still fun. This song reminds me of like rainbows and unicorns, and that's what
It
I'm
should.
currently
And
on.
Dave, by
should.
the way, suggested this song.
I did suggest
for
this
this
song.
reason.
It's Thundercat. It's called "Bussin' These Streets," and it's very, as you can tell, it's very happy and kicky.
Yes.
But it's also about like putting your phone down.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I like
Just getting off of Twitter for 2 seconds.
Yes.
Not reading the news,
Yes.
every moment of every day.
Yes.
Just like unplugging, having a thought that you don't express.
Now, when you say you're in your own bubble, Tony said earlier he was in his own bubble about
Yes.
this.
Yes.
Do you unplug?
I
Because
did.
there's no way to
No, I did.
escape it if you're on
Oh,
social media.
I completely did. That's why I feel happy. Because this is what happened. Like once, I was actually in West Hollywood when everything was like unraveling. And the mood in West Hollywood went from like excited to nervous to just like depressing.
Right.
And so the next day, in the next couple of days, I was not on social media. I
Yeah,
didn't
and
look at anything. If I did, and I noticed that things were still too politically heavy, I just removed myself. And I went into my bubble, which is full of rose-colored glasses and rainbows and
That's
unicorns.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
I
in
think that's
backwoods Tennessee.
Oh no.
Literally backwoods Tennessee when
Why?
it happened.
What doing what?
Okay, well, let me wait till you hear this. Now, okay, this is a deeper layer. Backwoods Tennessee, but what I was doing there was visiting a friend who is now the manager of an all-male clothing optional resort.
In backwoods Tennessee?
And I promise you it was backwoods Tennessee. But
Yeah.
in this little resort.
Is it
in
wrong
this
that I'm a
little-
little turned on right now?
If you were there, you probably wouldn't be.
Okay. But it's a start. You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah,
This sounds
exactly.
great.
Yeah.
I felt the same way when I was going. I was like, this is going to be like, don't tell my boyfriend. Then I was like, oh, I'm good. There'll be no.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it's off season. There was like 2 people there.
Sure. And you know what? Those things never live up to their
No.
sexual promise,
No.
do they?
And I think people should I don't care how old you are, like go have your fun if you're into it. But it's not going to be
Everyone has. There's
sexy.
someone for everyone,
Right.
and it's gonna be sexy for somebody. Okay.
100%.
Sure.
And I think it's important that it is even where it is, because these are probably
Yeah.
people that are afraid to do anything, especially now. So in the true little bubble that I was in, it was safe, but stepping outside this forest area were people that were thrilled with the news, which actually felt safer to me in the time. I didn't want to be like anyone pissed off, but I got to LAX on Saturday and literally almost cried seeing diversity. Yeah, I felt safer seeing people that didn't look like me than I did with the people that
That
did.
look like
Yeah.
you.
And the
That's
times are
interesting.
cool. Yeah, because I felt so isolated there. I mean, there were a few gay guys that work there, and that's great. But otherwise,
Were they wearing clothes?
they do. They were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Were you wearing clothes?
I was.
Okay.
I didn't have.
Boring.
Did you ever like in the resort or spa or whatever it was called? Did you ever drop trowel?
I didn't, but I would.
Well,
except
this is
no one
not
was there, but the
climactic
workers.
at all.
Really boring story.
I wasn't even going to bring it up, but here we are. The workers weren't doing it, and there was no one else there. I think I would be comfortable doing it. I like not wearing clothes, but I not do. That's at home.
Right.
So I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, I'm torn on that myself.
Yeah.
We went to a clothing optional party in Palm Springs.
All right.
A couple summers ago, because they have those little resorts and whatever, and, and you get your little gay bar magazine that tells you where to go.
Exactly.
And so we're like, you know what? Let's go to one. And we went, and of course, it was not.
Yeah.
It was not as hot as we were kind of hoping it would be.
Right.
And also, like, I'm not like famous by any means, but I'm just well known enough that I was walking around somewhere with my dick out.
Right.
So somebody might just go like, and then it's out there, and I don't want it to be like that's not how I want the gossip blogs to know who I am.
This is
You know
true.
what I mean?
Although it seems to be a stepping stone for some people.
Well,
I
that's
don't know
true
that
too,
it
but-
would be that. I'm 45 years old. It would not be that for me. You know what I mean? I've passed my sell-by date.
Well,
as someone you'd want to.
I think you look better than
see
ever.
naked. Pardon?
Better than ever, I think you look.
Oh, thank you
Agreed.
very much.
But I get
Thanks.
what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm comfy with how I look, but it's not going to be
No.
like nobody's going to be like, ooh, let's look for
not-
dates.
it's not launching
I
you
just
to the
don't
next
know.
I want to be
Right.
honest. I'd Google it.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
I mean, but you would Google, and I mean,
today's question, ladies and
yes.
gentlemen, would you
Yeah.
Google
Here's the poll.
Dave Holmes
So
dick?
please find her in the chat and let him
Yeah,
know if
let
next
me
time he's in
know.
Palm Springs.
Okay.
Guys, this was so fun. I don't even want to talk about Trump now, but
Yeah.
Do
but
we
we
have
have a
to?
responsibility.
Where were you, Yael?
I
Where were
was-
you? When
Yeah,
when it all went
exactly,
down? This is our new
So-
9/11.
Yeah.
Okay, so interesting you should say that. So I teach Jewish Sunday school.
Mm-hmm.
That is a job that I do. And I
So fascinating you are.
I know, it's very weird. I asked my students, we were talking about something, it was relevant, but I had them write down a memory of the first time doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted them to write something that they could give details, where they were, how it felt, what they wore, who was with them, all of this. And one of my students wrote, I remember the first time I witnessed an American tragedy. It was 4 days ago when Trump was elected.
Oh boy.
Fourth grader.
Oh my God.
Fourth grader with a finely tuned sense of drama.
Yeah,
It was
for
just-
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we know what's happening in the household. Like the parents are
Yeah.
losing their minds.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not wrong.
No, right. Like, we're on the same page
Yeah.
for sure.
I was like, and it was well written. It was actually really
That's amazing.
impressive.
That's
I would like
pretty
to
cool.
work with kids in times
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But what do you tell kids? That was a big thing. What do you tell?
you tell a
the
child?
children?
Well, I didn't tell them anything because it's not my job.
You're like,
not
I'm
my
teaching
kids.
you Judaism,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And that's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
He's not Jewish. I can tell you that. He doesn't
That's
really
it.
like us.
So we
I
won't
can
be
tell
talking
you
about
that.
I think he,
anymore.
well, yeah. He has people around who don't really like
Yeah.
it. I think
And
he
that's-
just whoever he can make a buck off of.
And I do have a question about that. But first, since we did it, where were you?
I was in New York. I was working at Esquire. I wanted to be in the newsroom, like in Hearst Tower, because I thought it would be an exciting place to be.
Right.
And I wanted to be in New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I figured either way it went down, people would take to the streets, and it
Yeah.
would be like, there would be energy in a way that there really is not in LA. Like, you would text your friends, yay, or
Right.
like a smiley emoji or something, but
Yes.
you're not, in victory, going to take the streets.
Yeah.
And we all set up in a big conference room up on the 19th floor. Gorgeous, like view, beautiful sunset, and we're like
It was a party.
planning our pieces and making little funny memes with that shitty Trump cake. I'm sorry, can I swear?
Yes.
It's okay, it's fine.
With the dumb like Trump cake with the sad eyes. I don't know if you saw that earlier in the
Yeah.
night. We like put that on a billion different things, and it was like, this is fun. And then the returns started to come in, and it was like it just got darker and darker,
Yeah.
and like the room, like the air pressure got heavier, and we were all kind of in our own little way trying to be like, well, these are just the rural areas, and we were all telling our own story about how like eventually like the count would turn around and the momentum would be ours, and by the way, uniformly ours. Like there's not a Trump supporter in the bunch.
Right.
There are Republicans in the bunch, but they're
Different
not
thing.
different
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, it finally just, and we got like, because it's a men's brand, we get sent a lot of liquor and stuff. So like it was a full bar set up, and everyone was drinking at the beginning of the night, and then it just became like I
And
don't want to.
they're not even sad drinking.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
not even sad. One person did drink an entire bottle of Chardonnay in front of me, but everybody else kind of put it away and just
Yeah.
tried to keep their wits about
Yeah.
them. And then at 2, I left, and I just started roaming the streets, and it was like people were just shell shocked. And I went to the Hilton where the Trump after party, the Trump victory party, was taking place, and there were people like Trump supporters, not a ton, but a few out front, and even they were just like waving their signs, just like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, I described it as the end of the Graduate. Have you seen the movie The Graduate?
No.
Okay. Well, it's like, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But like
Now I
Dustin
never know.
Hoffman pursues this woman through the whole movie, and
Right.
she is getting married, and he breaks up, like calls her name and like pulls her off the altar, and they get into a bus, and it's like this big victory. But then they sit at the back of the bus while The Sound of Silence plays, and it's just like you can see it register on both their faces, like we just made this huge move and we don't know what comes next, and it's not like, do we even like each other?
Yeah.
Or is this just like a thing that we did from acting out? That's how everybody looked. Just like, what do we do now?
Right. Right.
No victory.
I think Trump
No
as
joy in
well
Mudville.
was being
Yeah.
like, now.
Oh, I think he's
what
still just like,
do I do
wait
now?
a minute, I have to do this?
Yeah.
I can't just sit on my gold toilet
He
in
was
my,
as
in my
shocked as the rest
garbage
of us.
mansion?
Yeah, exactly.
I realized this year
Yes.
as I was because I was trying to stay up and watch it. I realized like it's late. You know what I mean? Like it's midnight here and they're still calling
when you
stuff.
were in West,
Yeah,
it was,
and it was 3 a.m.
Yeah, it was real late.
Like, what is we need to solve that problem, because there's no way I believe that everyone was like sitting there going, it's 3 a.m. and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is a miserable existence at this moment.
I went
But
to
there's
bed
no other way to do it, really.
thinking I was going to miss the great big moment when it turned
Right.
around. There was no question in my mind. I
Yeah.
guess I'm a little naive. I mean, obviously, we all kind of didn't think that was going to happen.
Right.
Have in the chat
Yes. A Trump supporter.
a Trump
Okay.
Oh,
supporter.
good.
Well, good for you.
What are they saying?
Been voting Dem for 16 years, no exception, but this year I supported Trump.
Okay.
Hashtag gays for
I
Trump.
blindly was allegiant to one party for a while, and then I blindly chose another. Good for you. Sorry to...
This is interesting. I wanted someone, and I didn't think it would happen, to do this, and now I'm like nervous that it's happening. So I'm like, I don't want to. I want to hear. I wish they were here. I want to hear from a gay person.
Yeah.
Why?
I'd like to hear from any person.
B-Dog, feel
Yes.
free to...
Yeah, tell us. We'll.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to, I'm sure everybody has their reasons, and that's fine.
but what are they?
This particular one, I just can't figure it out. This is unlike any other
That's
election
it.
in our lifetime.
In the 60 Minutes interview, when questions were asked about Trump's policies, he did say that, marriage is done. We're done. We're not dealing with it.
Right.
We're moving on.
Right.
So, woohoo.
But
Yeah.
one of his, who the hell knows what's going to happen with the Supreme Court?
Right.
So, like,
That's
he
terrifying.
appoints a very, very conservative person, like somebody way to the right of Scalia, which he has promised to do. He's also, by the way, promised to do literally everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally, he's
So
had
who
every
knows?
position on everything, on every issue. So who
Right.
even knows what's going to happen?
But what scares me about it is he doesn't know what he's doing. So who does it fall to? Mike Pence,
Right.
one of the most anti-LGBT
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
politicians
so
that
once,
we have.
once Trump gets, once somebody lights a sparkler near Trump and he's like, neat, and walks toward it
Yep.
and doesn't want to be president anymore,
Right.
then it's Mike Pence, who is who knows what the hell he's doing, knows how to run the
Right.
country,
So that
and
scares
is
me more.
completely wrong for every single one of our issues.
Yeah.
So if you
Yes.
if you ever want to get married, if you ever want to adopt a child, if you ever want to foster a child, if you ever want to have equal rights to heterosexual people,
If you
maybe not the
ever
best choice in the world.
want to have an abortion.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
right. I mean, right. We can. I mean, it's obviously an LGBT show. That's what we'll focus on. But
Yeah.
we could spend possibly 24 straight hours talking about the different groups that will be negatively impacted. I feel
Maybe. Or maybe not.
Yeah.
correct.
Who knows?
And hopefully not.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But what scares me, Trump honestly doesn't scare me that much. It's because he's like, here you go, to the power he's giving to other people
Yeah.
that, like you said, do know what they're doing. That scares me.
Right.
A lot. But
I also kind of love that he's just sort of shown up like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's truly like I guess my kids will help.
Yeah.
Let's let the kids know what's in Area 51 or whatever. Like
Right.
all of these people are getting security clearance so that they can sort of help
Well, he
the
was like,
transition.
look, he was like, I showed up to 3 debates. You saw what you were getting, and
Yeah.
you chose me. So here we are.
Here we
Like,
are. God
I-
help us, everyone.
I almost would like to feel that he's gonna surprise us, and it won't be as bad as
I
we're
truly hope
predicting.
so.
Yeah, I would love to be embarrassed by how appalled I am right now.
Would love
Yeah.
to be.
I would like nothing more than for B-Dog, whatever, to come at me in 4 years and say I told you so.
Yep.
I am
Yeah.
I am all ears for that shit.
Oh, that'd
Give
be
it to
great.
me.
Yeah.
Thomas in the chat says, I didn't vote for Trump. My parents did. Their reason was, we're on the corruption. Basically, they believe minorities are to blame for terrible political climate rather than money in politics.
Okay.
Should I say climate?
So that is
Political climate.
voting
climate,
for
yeah.
Trump for
Not
the right
climate, climate.
I mean, the right reason I think to vote for Trump is I'm racist, I'm misogynist, whatever. So that sounds to me like they did that the right way. I'm concerned about the people who they really felt like the system was failing them, and they're being ignored, and that, as minorities, like I get that it sucks. That I'm sorry to hear that. We needed to figure out a better way for their voices to be heard than this. Will their voices be heard now? I don't know. I don't know what's. I mean, I truly don't know what's going to happen.
I don't think anyone knows what's going to happen, because
nobody
right
knows
now,
what's gonna happen.
I mean, as we said, Trump has said, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the polar opposite."
Right.
So
Yeah.
No one knows.
His whole platform was like, it's gonna be great, everything's gonna be tremendous.
Yeah, right.
My chick is real pretty, your chick is real ugly. My dick is perfectly normal size.
Right.
And that's kind of it. So who the hell knows?
And here he is.
Yeah. And what the thing that bothers me though is that regardless of what happens going forward, which again I hope is all great. I hope we get this like infrastructure package and our LAX starts to become a functioning airport.
Right. Yeah,
and like
right.
I hope all great things happen and it creates a ton of jobs and all that. What I hate is that the campaign aimed at everything that is small in human nature. Everything that's petty and hateful and fearful and like blaming and just small. Like everything that like makes us that shrinks us in human nature rather than what makes us grander. And it worked. It worked.
And that's
what
the thing.
bothers me.
Exactly.
When
I went to bed, certain that Clinton would still win, I still felt very sad that it was even a question. I mean, obviously it's worse than I thought going to bed that night.
Sure.
But just because, at least on a bright side, it is a wake-up call if there were people unsure about what's happening in the country.
Right.
Now we know.
Yeah.
it's also a wake-up call for the people who secretly voted. It's like, if you're afraid to do it,
Right.
then that's something you should
There's a
talk
lot of
about.
people who voted for him that are getting very upset by people coming after them now.
Yeah. Stand by your decision.
Exactly.
B-Dog has responded.
Okay.
Yeah.
B-Dog says, I'm a single father from Michigan making less than $30K a year. Trump might be horrible, but he's not already been corrupted by political issues.
Well, because he only became a politician like 5
Just
minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like
So
he's still he's still
Also-
basically not until
Right.
mid-January.
Oh,
He's
there's
not a
also-
politician.
He's still learning.
He's still learning,
B-Dog
and he's
also
been
says-
corrupted by many other things.
Right.
Like he's going to jail for fraud. He's not going to jail. He's going to court for fraud.
Right.
B-Dog
Sorry.
also says,
Yeah.
my son is African American, so not racist at all.
Okay. I don't think anyone called you racist.
Yeah, I think.
Why'd you look at me?
I'm just amused.
Did you? It's almost like you read that and was like, I just want to see Tony's reaction to see if everything is okay.
I think it's a.
We're all good.
Yeah. Can
I
we
have
say
some thoughts.
We're all good.
People
It's
were
okay, I
saying.
have a black friend.
And he's right here. People were saying, "Oh shoot! Now I got too racist, and I lost." What did you have to say about it?
No, nothing.
Oh, I thought.
I mean, that's great. It's great that you are a single father. It's great that you have an African American kid. I don't think anyone was calling you personally racist.
Right.
I don't think that this is necessarily the guy for you. But I mean, I think also it seems like his vote was against her rather than for him, because there kind of is no.
I think that is. What was our downfall?
Right.
Well, that's the whole time I was watching the results. This may sound bad because everyone's vote does count and everyone's vote is their way of having their voice heard. But in this type of election, I just kept wondering who was voting for Gary Johnson.
Right.
The whole time.
Those are the people.
I was like, I understand that maybe you don't like either candidate, and that you both think they're evil, but there was a part of me that was like, it's too close. Like, why would you vote for someone that doesn't have a chance?
I felt like people, instead of abstaining and just not voting, they went, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Which,
Abstaining's no good either this year.
Yeah,
I know,
well,
but
46.9% of the voters didn't.
I heard it was higher than that.
Was it? That was the last I heard.
Either way,
I
that's.
haven't.
I really
huge.
wanted to try to get a group of people to write in Michelle Obama. Like, I really wanted that to be a thing.
But a big group, I hope.
Yeah, no, I want like a noticeable amount of people to have written in Michelle.
Hundreds of millions.
I would have wrote in Beyonce. I have more faith in her in the Beehive.
My God, can you
Interesting to say that.
just a hair fan in the Oval Office at all times?
That'd be amazing.
Just sitting at the desk.
I would love it. It was like
Glowing.
all of a sudden the Oval Office just becomes a natural wind machine.
Make America fierce again.
Oh,
Maybe
love it.
2020, but
I love it.
all right. We're done. We have a lot more to say, but
We
we're
have so
running.
much more to
We
say.
have other things too.
We have really important stuff to talk
Yes,
about.
Right.
lesbians.
Lesbians, guys.
Yael's here on our lesbian
We can't
beat,
talk about
so-
lesbians enough.
We really can't. Okay, so a few things. First of all, if you were not watching Supergirl, you are crazy.
I must be crazy then.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I am not.
You're sitting with a bunch of
Sorry.
Looney Tunes
I know,
up
none
here.
of you are
Sorry,
nerds.
yeah.
All right, so Supergirl on the CW season 2, her sister Alex Danvers came out because we have a lesbian cop who she met and went, oh my God, wait, I like you. Wait a second, I've never liked a dude. Wait a second, I'm a lesbian.
That's how it happens.
It was great. And
Tick,
the
tick,
way
tick.
that they handled this story was so beautiful.
Yeah, how?
Because we see her come out to her sister, and when she's telling her sister, who is Supergirl, spoiler alert, she's telling her, I've always felt this way and I never realized it, and blah, blah, blah. And her sister apologizes for making the environment a place where she could never have told her this. And she always made it about herself because she's Supergirl.
Yeah, so you
She's
might
got a,
do
she's
that.
got a good
Yeah.
excuse.
Sure.
Which is like a
But
really
that is a-
great story. It's not that I'm mad. It's not that I am surprised. It's I'm sorry that I made our relationship not open enough for you to tell me this.
That is one of her superpowers.
Yeah, I was gonna say she did it.
Yeah.
But
She knows
that's
exactly what
similar
to
to.
say.
I think we talked about it on Coming Out Day, where people were saying, "What can you do to ease someone's coming out?" And it's really
Yeah.
just present them with an environment beforehand where it's
Yes.
not going to be such an issue.
Yeah.
Which is I never really thought of, but yes, that's
Did anybody
Yeah.
come out into that kind of an environment at this table?
Well, I mean. Yeah, except I was my own worst enemy in the coming out situation.
Yeah.
My family was great. I knew they would be great. I was not okay with it.
Right.
So they would have been, but I didn't allow that to. It didn't work for me.
Okay.
No super boy here.
No.
I had to make it a difficult thing. I was very blessed, but wasted it.
Okay.
I think
Oh, sorry.
I just always felt like I didn't need to come out because like my sister didn't have a conversation with my parents that said, oh, by the way, just in case you were wondering, I'm straight.
Yeah.
So I felt like I just like lived my life and
But felt free to do that.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, felt very free to. I was clearly a kid who marched to the beat of his own drum. But then I came to a point where I felt like I needed to let them know that I was gay, and I told my mom, and that was a funny conversation. I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but she was just like, what is it? Are you different? And I was like, well, I mean, if that's what they're calling it, sure.
Yeah.
But then she was just like, I love you anyway, and I've known, but I wanted you to tell me.
Yeah.
So there was that environment of like, I'm ready when you are. So, and I mean, I just had to be ready to reveal that
Totally,
side of me.
Totally.
Yeah.
My dad, I was not afraid to tell, and I told you guys this. My dad saw I'm bi or fluid, or actually this year.
This year?
This year's
This
something
year
that-
I decided I want to go with whatever sexual.
Yeah.
You're whatever sexual?
I'm whatever
Just-
sexual.
yes,
Well, that's
please.
good. It keeps your options open.
I think
Sexual.
So. Yeah.
You're just sexual.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I remember when I told my dad, he was like, "Oh, you're just greedy and a slut. You like sex."
Yeah. And you're like, great.
And I went, "Dad, I'm a virgin, but okay.
Yeah.
But hopefully someday.
Yeah.
You're not
I'll
wrong.
fix that."
Right.
Yeah. Was your family?
It was tough at first, for sure. Pretty conservative in St. Louis, very Catholic.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it was all. I have two brothers and a mom and a dad, and it was like the opposite. Everyone who I thought was going to be great was not.
Really?
And everyone who I thought was going to be a nightmare was
How
great.
interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, it was tough at first.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
But what about, I feel like people in the industry have like two coming outs. Like you kind of come out to your family, but then you have to come out to everyone else.
Yeah.
Was that hard for you to do when you did it?
Was I mean, the thing is, I was out. Like by the time I was working in TV, I was out, and
Yeah.
I would bring boys to events and stuff, and I had boyfriends and whatever. But it was just at the time you didn't have Twitter, you didn't have blogs, you didn't have anything. So like, if you wanted to be out, you kind of needed the press to help you be out, or
Yeah.
like to
Yeah.
do a thing, and it just like they couldn't have cared less about me.
Yeah.
So like, I was as out as I could be, but people didn't
Yeah.
know.
That's
It's very
interesting.
strange.
Yeah.
It flew under the radar.
Anyone who watches any of my after shows and doesn't watch this is probably confused as hell
About you?
about me, because I spend all the shows being like, oh yeah, he should be shirtless all the time. Oh, her boobies, I love titties, blah, blah, blah. They're just real confused.
Yeah, but
Well, now on this show, they have clarity.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
So anyone who's confused,
I
check
hope
out this show.
they can figure it out. You are an equal opportunity
Yes.
sexual person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
great.
discriminate based on gender. I discriminate based on age.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, welcome
Is
to the gay
there-
life.
Like
Is there-
someone too old or too young, you
Yeah.
mean? Or what?
Yeah, no, like
What's the
there's
range?
there's a too young.
Oh, like it's illegal once they're 17, and that's about it?
No,
Yeah.
no, there are other rules.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah.
it seems like we're keeping them under wraps.
Oh,
and
well,
let's
You have to get on that.
Other lesbian news.
Yes.
There's more lesbian news?
So there's this film called First Girl I Loved, which is an indie film that has really taken it by storm. Everyone is loving it. It was the top 10 on iTunes in romance and drama, which is huge for an indie gay film. And it won the audience
Did you say
award.
Indie Gilm?
Indie
Did you
Gilm.
just do a little
A new,
portmanteau of gay
yeah, it's a
film?
new category.
Yeah, Gilm. And it won the audience award at Sundance. And it stars Dylan Galula from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. She's the daughter, my Hate Everybody daughter, with the really complicated name. Anyway, I talked to her on our sister network, Popcorn Talk, for an iTalk Movies, so you should definitely check out that interview, but
Yeah.
also that film, because I was
What's the name
sobbing.
again?
First Girl I Loved.
First girl I know.
It's, oh my God, I cried watching this movie. It was very emotional,
All right.
and it very much hit way too close to home at some points.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember my first gay film that I related to.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Billy's Hollywood Screen Kiss.
I remember that. Brad Rowe.
I felt like Sean Hayes' character without the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just viewing.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that. I don't remember. I remember trying to sneak glimpses of Queer as Folk,
Oh,
which
wow.
was, of course, very sexual. So that was.
Sure.
I was immediately like, so that's what it's like, and I liked what I saw. So here I am now.
Every gay movie that I saw in the 80s was a TV movie about AIDS. So like
Must
that's
have excited
all of it.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I mean,
Yeah.
the AIDS part obviously
Right.
was a little bit of a
But just seeing
damper.
it, just actually getting to see
But
it.
just the idea that like two men would be together in some way was just like it was electric. There was also, and in fact, I just saw it when I was cheering myself up with reruns of old TV shows in the last week on like MeTV or something. They did a Love Boat rerun. Obviously a rerun because it hasn't been on the air for 30 years.
Yes.
So a new episode.
Yeah, brand new episode. But it was about Doc's fraternity brother who comes on the Love Boat with his male lover who he calls his cousin.
But it's not. I mean, it is about they are gay.
Yeah, they are, but they
Yeah.
never say it. They never say
They
it.
don't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
They only hug. Because this is like 1984
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that. And then at the end, when he finally has to tell Doc, because the boyfriend is like, I'm not your cousin. Like, let's be honest. here."
Yes.
But he doesn't tell anybody either. But anyway, so the guy says to Doc, he's not my cousin. I'm homosexual.
Yes.
Like they couldn't say gay.
Yeah.
is
You
so-
sure
yeah.
couldn't say queer.
Like it was very.
I'm homosexual.
It was always I remember on the episodes of the Golden Girls, they always said homosexual.
I was just. It made
Yeah.
me think about Golden
Yeah.
Girls.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love those girls.
B-Dog says, "Save me" with Robert Grant.
Robert Gant.
Gant, that's what I said.
Oh,
Poor Robert
yes.
Gant had to be in all of the gay movies of the 90s and
Yes.
aughts.
Yes.
He was in Queer as Folk.
Oh, he
Yes.
was.
Yeah.
Which
he,
one? Who
he
is he?
was
He was literally every gay.
Yeah,
He was in every
yeah.
gay
I know
thing.
who we're talking about.
It was him and
Yes.
Chad Allen.
Yeah.
Had to do all the lifting.
That's so funny and good for that. I mean, that's a great way to have a career. I
Listen,
mean, be like, this is
once
who I
you
am.
find your niche,
That's right.
Yeah.
you just stick with it.
You
Yeah.
just stick with that shit.
Any other sapphic stories for us?
And
Just
more lesbian news.
more lesbian news. There's this convention that's happening.
There's a lesbian convention?
Yeah,
You
so
guys fucking have it all figured out.
so I don't know if you guys are aware of.
We're not.
Yeah.
Lesbians?
No, the show The 100 on the CW last season made a lot of controversy with the way that they killed off a lesbian character. It started this like huge internet backlash. Fans went crazy. So anyway, this inspired a convention about queer women on television and in media. And so there's this convention that's happening in March called Klexicon, based off of the ship name of the characters from the show The 100, Clark and Lexa. Anyway, the con is happening. I'll probably talk a lot more about it as it keeps as we get closer. But like, they are getting the top like sci-fi lesbians on this panel and at this convention. It's going to be amazing.
Lesbian actresses or the characters who
both.
Yeah.
So they have queer women writers and producers, and also characters and actors. So like the one who played Astrid from Fringe is going to be there. None of you guys don't watch sci-fi shows. You're killing me.
We're just like, and lesbian.
Yeah, you could literally just,
Winona,
you're just saying words
some
right
people
now.
from Winona Earp.
Okay, heard of that one. I mean, honestly, when you said lesbian convention, all I thought was U-Haul and adopt a kid.
So he has some reading to do.
Yeah, so
Take him with
there's
you.
going to be no U-Hauls. There'll probably be cats.
I'm reading over your shoulder, and somebody wants to know what we think of San Junipero on Black Mirror. Did you see it?
I did not yet watch
Have you
Black
seen
Mirror.
this season of Black Mirror?
I'm
No,
binging it next. It's
I
on my
was going to say
list.
now it's the next thing.
Start with San Junipero. Watch
That's
it tonight.
The episode name?
It's called San Junipero. Yeah,
Okay.
like it's not a show that you need to watch sequentially.
Oh, that's good.
And it's so good. It's so great.
Okay.
I loved it.
Is it
So-
who's the actress in it in that one?
There's Gugu Mbatha Raw,
Okay, so I don't know.
which is my favorite name in the
Yes,
world.
that's a magic.
And someone who looks like what's her name? Bryce Dallas Howard, but it's not her.
Oh, it isn't.
No, she's in a different episode.
'cause
but it's
that's why I was
it's some
asking.
like pretty redhead. I don't know.
Because I
somebody in there.
heard a lot about that Bryce Dallas Howard episode. That's
Yeah,
what I was asking.
that's the next one that I want to watch.
All right. Well,
So there you go.
There you go.
Thank you for lesbian news.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to move to trans news. Sorry, we got to do it super quickly, and it's Trans Awareness Week, so I apologize that we're going to fly through this. But Tinder just added
Yes.
transgender options.
Yeah.
Good.
Love that.
Good for
The
them.
only weird thing, and it's not bad, it's great, but there are 35 different options now instead of male or female, which is a lot.
It's a lot of options.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but if you know what your option is, you find it. There's no problem there.
You can also write in, though, so it's like...
But what if
they-
multiple ones describe you? Then
I
what
just
do
think
you do?
it's... You click them all. I mean, it's like, it is inclusive to the T, which is amazing.
Do you
Thank
have
Tinder.
the categories?
I wrote down some, the ones that I thought were interesting, and I don't know how to say many of them. Agender is one. This is the one I don't know. Androgyne?
Androgyne?
Thank you. I was like, there's no way androgyne is the way you...
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Androgynous.
Yeah. Because androgynous is one as well, so I guess that's two
Okay.
different ways
So-
to say.
Oh, so there's androgynous and androgyne.
Yes.
That's I don't
there's
know.
there's very many. There's trans man, transgender man, M to F. So it's the same thing worded differently.
Right.
Bigender, gender questioning, gender variant, gender queer, neither, pangender, all the trans, and then two-spirit, which I didn't know of, and it sounds
Yeah.
like Native American, and I love it.
Is there no gender fluid?
There's many more than those. I just wrote down ones that were.
So you know how much I love the word fluid.
There definitely is.
I do love the word fluid.
I just get so overwhelmed with all the subcategories that
I do
that
as
we
well,
have.
especially trying to be accepting. Like if I was like, I don't know, but like trying to be inclusive,
Yeah.
I do get overwhelmed.
I mean, I'm with open arms, like
Right.
be you, but
I'm also with open arms.
we
know,
heard.
We got it. Got it.
but it's so like, oh my gosh, it's so like you read these and I'm just like, where's gay and male, like,
Yeah.
and black? That's me.
Well, you were already taken care of on there, Selfish. So now we're
Check
opening
it
it up
out.
to the other to the two spirits of the
Good.
world.
You know, when you said two-spirit, I thought, so am I two-spirit? Because I feel like I'm like Beyonce and like a splash of Selena.
Listen, you can go on Tinder and you can click two spirit
gonna
and
do
just
that.
explain that to the people that,
I would.
that you're
Why
meeting.
not?
I'm
Think of the
challenging you
people
with
you'll meet.
homework.
To
Google
learn
it.
them all.
No.
He's
No
like, I
homework.
couldn't even go on social media after the election. I'm not going to look up these different names.
I can't.
Okay. Now to something I am very excited to talk about.
Okay.
Your book, Party of
All right.
One.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, the crowd is
Everybody
going
sit
wild.
down.
Yeah,
Sit
calm
down.
down. He's here all
Sit down.
the rest of the show. First of
Oh,
all,
there they are.
yeah. Oh, they're really
Oh.
good. They're just a little.
There
There's
they are.
a.
It's a little
it
faint.
takes a second.
Delay.
Well, I mean, it's a very long arena.
Exactly.
Sound
Well,
travels very
because
slowly,
you
as we
packed
all
the
know.
house.
Exactly.
It is so, one of my favorite things about it, besides it's well written, funny, is how relatable it is.
Thank you.
As a gay person, I don't know what the straights think of it.
Yeah.
But there was
They hate it. No,
it burns in their hands.
Yeah, exactly.
But
They're not
it's
allowed
just
to
so
have
I'm
it.
like, yes, oh, that happened. Oh, I felt that. It's like
Good.
reminding me of things from my past,
Good.
which
I'm
I
really
love
glad.
that.
I'm really glad. Like, there were, uncomfortable stories that I wanted to tell, and there were like things that are embarrassing and whatever that I wanted to get out there because they're in my mind
Right.
and they need to be released, but also because I think we get very often either the young gay kid who is terribly abused, and comes from and is sent to be zapped by Mike Pence or whatever,
Right.
or it's like the kid who like always knows it and moves to the big city and goes to his first gay bar and it's like, I'm home,
Right,
and
right.
like the experiences in between we tend to not talk
So
about,
true.
where it's like we're nerdy and we make terrible decisions,
Yeah.
and we're like we don't reflect on the entire gay community well,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of what I felt like
I
putting
love
out
that.
into
Yeah.
the world,
Which
because I
is-
feel like I had never read it. I never looked at a book and read a thing and been like, that's me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of put that out there. So thank you very much.
Oh, you did it. But that
appreciate
actually, you mentioned awkward stories. That was my other question is because I think about this, I always want to write things like that. I think about my family because they're going to be in a lot of stories.
Sure.
What was it like? Did you have to have a talk with them?
I did. This past Christmas, I sat my parents down. Like, my brothers are fine.
Yeah.
I have two older brothers. They'll be fine. There are small kids, so I was like, this is for 16 and up.
Right.
And even then it's dicey. But there are like two drug stories, because I'm not a drugs guy. But like twice I was like, I'm gonna try.
Right.
And they were
So then
both
they become
disastrous.
stories, but
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did it because there were stories. And I'm
Right.
glad that I never did it again. But so I had to sit my parents down and I was like, listen, I tried drugs a couple times, and I tell the story in the book, and I just need you to be aware. And they were like, we kind of and stunned. They were so cool with everything.
Yeah.
That I couldn't believe it. And like, they just kind of assumed that I, lived in New York and tried some things and whatever. And so I was like, great, this is gonna be easy. So then the book comes, I get a galley. I get my galleys to like send out for blurbs and stuff. And I sent them one, and they read it, and they like cried, and they laughed, and they stayed up all night reading it and passing it back and forth, and it was the cutest thing in the world.
love
and
that.
the next morning they were like, oh, we loved it, and it was like great. And then they slept on it, and they remembered that they have neighbors and relatives and stuff. And there's a certain degree of sex in the book, like not a ton. It's pretty PG, but.
This
PG
is
for us.
Catholicism
Yeah, this is
101.
Midwestern, mid 80s.
They're like, we're fine, but what are the others?
Catholicism,
gonna-
yeah. So it's like, what's Aunt Sally gonna think,
Right.
or whatever. So then they were like, oh, because there's evidence that I've had sex. Right. You know what I mean?
As not just gay, but had sex.
But also acted on it a
That's
time or two.
crazy.
I am appalled.
I wish you told me that before we invited you here. But
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Deviant.
I cast us in such a
fine.
terrible light.
It's good to have a surprise.
But yeah, no. So they were, they were more concerned with that.
Yeah.
And I was able to kind of to talk them through it and to say, if anybody in my life reacts to it badly, that's for me. That's I can handle that because this is my story and I'm not ashamed of it. And if somebody has a problem with it, they can bring it to me. It doesn't concern you anymore.
Yeah.
Like you did a great job. We're all adults and we're all very happy. So don't worry.
Did they understand
on
that?
They did. I mean, it took a long time,
Yeah.
but they did. Or so I thought. And then the next day, one of my brothers went to pick up, because I sent them one copy, and he went to pick it up, and he was like, what did you think? And before he even got the sentence out, they were like, well, there are some dirty things in there, but his editor made him put them in, because that's how you sell books. And so he told us that. We talked to him yesterday, and we believe him. That's what he said. Like, not that is, I said nothing of the sort, but it's just like,
they found a way
elderly
to-
Catholic coping
Yes.
mechanisms
Yeah.
in action, and like that's how they have chosen to
Yeah.
to deal with it. And it's like, okay,
Right.
if
If they're
it
dealing
helps
with
you
it,
sleep, if
great.
it helps
Exactly.
you sleep, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. They don't need to know about my sex life. I don't need to know about theirs.
Right.
They already know too much about mine from reading the book. I don't want them to think of any more on it.
Right. No sequels.
No
Yeah.
sequels.
Yeah.
Well, I mean sequels,
Right.
but
Not for them.
Not for them.
Or you'll sit them down again. Whatever
I'll sit them
happens,
down
happens.
again. Whatever. We'll see. We'll see what kind of living I do going forward.
That. Yeah, that's because I think about that. Tell us about your podcast.
Oh, I have a podcast called International Waters. Much like this one, it is a panel show.
Yes.
But it's I'm the host, and two of the comics are with me in the studio in LA, and 2 are in a studio in London, and we're connected via Skype. And it's all about things that are going on in the U.S. and in Europe. And so, like, UK TV is full of shows like this, where it's, you say funny things about the news, and there's sort of a game show format to it or whatever.
Sure.
We don't really have that in the States.
Yeah.
So this is our attempt to make that trend sort of cross the ocean.
Yeah, which I love. I mean, that for me, career-wise, is like that's the dream. Like you talk about what you want to talk about, you have fun, people are playing games.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're done.
Ding, 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 you go home.
Right. Love it.
A lovely parting game.
Yes.
But yeah, we do it. It's on the Maximum Fun Network. Comes out every 2 weeks. We're a couple days late with this last episode.
You've been through some things, probably.
We've all been through some things.
Yes.
As a country, we've been through some things.
Yeah, and them too.
Of
Obviously.
course. Yeah.
So-
We all need some healing time.
Yeah.
Well, everyone is invited to my bubble. Well, it's amazing. It's
great.
a bubble. It's amazing.
What do you do there?
Everything.
Okay, well then
Everything.
we'll be joining you.
Yeah, please do.
And is your show at what is it called? I wrote
the Friday 40. That is at
but
Meltdown.
That's quiz. That's game-esque, right?
It is. It's
Yeah.
a game show. It's 40 questions about the events of the last 7 days while we all drink 40s of beer. And it's really fun. It's Scott Gimple, who's the executive producer of The Walking Dead, and I have been doing it for 12 years. Like, it's a show that we just do. It's like our comedy gym kind of show.
Yeah.
And we have this cast of people who play characters throughout it who are fantastic. And so now we can only do it once a month because I'm traveling constantly and Scott is, editing zombie footage all the time. So we do it the second Friday of every month at Meltdown.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Can't
It's
wait.
super fun.
So that's if y'all are in LA, but if not, International Waters, Party of One.
There you go.
Love it.
You're caught up.
Thank
the
you for
plugs.
being with us.
My God, my pleasure. Thank you.
Guys,
Is
stay
it that
strong
time?
out there. It's that time again. It's our
goes
time
by
to share our social media. What are they called? Handles.
Handles?
Mine
It
is
goes by
at
so
Adam
quick.
Salandra.
And of course,
Follow me.
Mine is still
Yeah,
at
still.
Lounging with Tony on all social media platforms or my website, loungingwithtony.com.
Love it.
Thank you guys so much for joining us and for everyone who was in the chat. We had a lively discussion.
Oh, I love that.
Great.
Good.
I'm Yael Tygiel. You can find me everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And I have a podcast. It's called Intimate Interrogations. Sometimes it is filthy. Sometimes it is not.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Probably mostly we can tell that it probably is.
Yeah.
Dave,
I'm
where
gonna
can we
say
find
it's
you
100%
again?
filthy.
Yeah, right.
I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat at Dave Holmes.
Love
I think
it.
I'm the Dave Holmes on Snapchat, but I don't use it very often, so never mind.
So don't worry about that.
I don't use it very often.
And also, guys, please comment always underneath on YouTube and iTunes. Tell us what you like, what you want to hear, and give us questions because we ran out of time today, but we will answer your questions,
But
my
we
friends.
won't be back next weekend.
Next
Or
week is, of course, Thanksgiving.
My favorite holiday of all.
Yeah.
You love to eat that good food.
I mean, it's
Turkey.
daily for me, but like,
All right.
at least I have an excuse.
Well,
Yeah,
we will share
sure.
what we're grateful for when we return. Thank you, Dave, and we'll see you
you.
next time, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.